Hello, I'm Pastor Sterling Malonzo of the Progressive Church. I want to speak to you about delay by design, that God will allow your life to be delayed, but it's according to his divine plan and his divine design for your life. When you look at God's plan and God's way of doing things, God never brings us straight up. God never just opened doors for us and just put us into a great place in life. But what he does is that he causes us to go through a process. Before he promotes us, before he increases us, he always processes us. The Bible tells us that promotion does not come from the east nor from the west, but it comes from the Lord. He raised one up, he brings another down. But before he raises you up, God always brings you through a process. So what he does is he brings you through some challenges. He allows you to go through some difficulties, and you are being held up and you are being delayed, even though you want to move forward. But it's God's design to delay you before he brings you into the place that he has ordained for you. And one of the reasons why God delay us, because he want to get our faith to a level and to a place where we can trust him no matter what come up against us in life. We studied about the life of Noah. God told Noah to build an ark, but it took Noah 120 years before he finished the ark. And when the flood came, he talked about Abraham. He tells Abraham, I'm going to bring a great promise through your life. I'm going to bless you, and nations are going to be blessed through you. I'm going to bless you with a son. But Abraham had to wait 25 years before God brought the promise to pass. And when we study about Abraham's life, the Bible said that what held up the promise for Abraham, because God had to get Abraham's faith up. God had to get Abraham to trust him and to believe him, to be fully convinced and fully persuaded before he can bring the promise to pass. And the Bible says Abraham got to a point in his life that he became fully persuaded. He became fully convinced that what God had promised, that God was able to perform. And then God brought the promise to pass in his life. I'm telling you today, I know you may be going through some challenges in your life. You may be going through some difficulties and some opposition. You may even have some setbacks. But I want you to understand that God is delaying you. God is holding you up because God is trying to build something in you. But you must understand that delays are not denial. What God has ordained, what God has promised, God will bring it to pass. But he brings you through a process. He never brings you straight up. Jesus talked about the road of Jericho, that this man who was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, he fell among thieves, that they beat him, they robbed him, they left him side of the road half dead. But when we studied the road of Jericho, the Jericho road is not a straight road. From Jerusalem to Jericho, it is 17 miles, but the road that goes from Jerusalem to Jericho is 29 miles because it's full of twists, turns, and bends. That tells us that God never brings us straight up. We go through twists, turns, and bends. But if we stay on the path that God has ordained, and if we get our faith to the point that we are fully persuaded, fully convinced that what God promised, God can bring it to pass. So don't you get discouraged. Don't you give in, and don't you stop. Don't you lose faith because you are being held up and you are being delayed. I know many times we want to blame things on the enemy, but there are times God delays us and God holds us up because God is building something in us, because what he has in store for us is going to require a lot of strength. It's going to require a lot of faith. And God is right now is telling you, build yourself up, because they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. You'll mount up with wings as eagles. You're going to run and not be weary. You walk and not faint. Trust God. And I tell you, your best days are ahead of you.